welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another reaction video. We got the NFL made him the villain and he loved it. Let's check this out.
He's loud, unapologetic, dominant, and
that
from
boy
college
J
to the
Ram.
league, Jalen never just played football. He played with fire, and when his ops went low, he went lower.
When I was at Florida State, I was grimy, like super grimy. I didn't care. Like I was talking about your girlfriend.
And that's not all. Once he got to the league, this man had beef with everybody. Every season, every other week. You can count on Jalen getting into a fight with a receiver, and he wasn't afraid to speak his mind.
You know what I'm saying? The game over with. You still mad because I was locking you up? All right. They sleep on that.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. That gotta be the most zestiest interview in NFL history, bro.
League wanted to silence him.
Not for respect.
Yeah, that's true.
I wasn't scared of nobody, man.
This is how Jalen Ramsey became one of the biggest villains in the NFL.
Ramsey was everybody.
Quickly, let's take a trip back to the birth of the problem. Jalen arrived at Florida State with a swagger that echoed far beyond the football field. But it all started at Brentwood Academy in Nashville, Tennessee, where he was a dog. Ramsey was a force on both sides of the ball, playing cornerback, wide receiver, and even returning kicks. His combination of size, speed, and athleticism made him an undeniable talent, earning him 5-star recruit status. As a senior, he helped lead his team to a state championship while racking up over 1,000 receiving yards. Rivals, ESPN, even Scouts.com all ranked him among the top 5 player in the country, with some calling him the best defensive back in the nation. Jalen's ability to lock down receivers combined with his natural playmaking instincts made him one of the most sought after recruits in the 2013 class.
Here goes Ramsey. See ya. 40, 30, 20, 10, Jalen Ramsey.
Ultimately leading to his decision to sign with Florida State. In 2013, as a true freshman, he not only earned a starting spot on a loaded national title winning team, but he also etched his name in the Seminole lore by becoming the first player since Deion Sanders to start at corner, safety, and nickel in the same season.
Damn.
The kid was just 18 years old.
So do y'all think he's going to play safety this year from
his
Pittsburgh?
vocal leadership and confidence. And his impact went beyond stats and versatility. It was his attitude that announced itself the loudest. He was the rare freshman unafraid to bark at upperclassmen or chirp at opposing sidelines. In rivalry games against Miami and Florida, Jalen turned the football field into his own personal stage of trash talks and theatrics. He lived for the hate. In fact, he later admitted he grew up cheering against his family's favorite team, Florida, just to start a little drama. Everyone else in my family was Florida fans, so I was always the underdog. I like going against people, he said. But it didn't just stop with family members. He took things as far as sliding into other players' girls' DMs just to mess with their heads before the game.
So I was playing like a big receiver at whatever school. I would look up his Instagram, see his girlfriend, whatever, boom, boom, and
you can cuss to yourself.
Yeah, I'd probably go slide in the DMs before the game.
Yo,
yeah,
I love that, dude. That's amazing.
I'll probably slide in the DMs, but either he know about it or he don't. But either way, I'm bringing it up in the game. Like, yeah, you know, I slid in first name basis, DM. Yeah. She hollering at like we.
How mad they get so mad right away.
Oh yeah, people get hot about that.
This dude loved getting inside his opponent's mind and under their skin. If a rival player or a fan base hated him, that wasn't a problem. That was the goal. The negative energy only put a battery in his back. However, Jalen's intensity sometimes spilled over into controversy. During a pivotal moment in 2014, tension boiled over at practice when Jalen clashed with teammates. With cameras rolling and fans watching, the sophomore got into a scuffle with multiple teammates, even knocking Heisman-winning QB1 Jameis Winston on the ground after a play. And that's when head coach Jimbo Fisher lost his mind. Because if you know, the one thing you don't do in practice is touch a quarterback. That's why a lot of them wear a red jersey during practice, for other players to know, stop, he's off limits. Jimbo didn't hesitate to send a clear message, promptly kicking Jalen from practice and calling him out for what was perceived as lack of leadership and discipline.
It ain't typical. It's not what we're going to do. He was told not to do something and he defied me. So we'll judge from there. And I'm very upset with him. It's lack of leadership. It's lack of character. We're going to do things my way or they ain't going to play here.
The nature, that's not all for show. Like when he was at practice, he would get into it with his own teammates sometimes.
Oh yeah, like Jalen don't care. If you're on the other side of the ball, you're gonna have to pay. And that's the mentality you have. I mean, coach used to have to tell him chill sometimes.
Despite the occasional problems, Jalen Jalen's talent was undeniable. NFL scouts and the media praised him as a rare breed, a player with all-pro potential and athleticism to dominate in the secondary position. Sports Illustrated even crowned him the best player in the entire 2016 draft class. But alongside the accolades came warnings about his fiery temperament and desire for on-field problems. He was labeled as a high-risk, high-reward prospect, the kind of player who could lock down your best receiver and get under his skin, but also might chirp his way into a 15-yard penalty. In short,
I feel like those type of players are the best players, bro. To me, in my
the ultimate boomer bust persona, a lockdown corner with a mouth to match his motor. Looking back, it's easy to see how this mix of talent and swagger made Jalen a magnet for drama. He had the skills for a star and the aura of a pro wrestler, and he wasn't about to tone it down for anybody. He cried openly after devastating losses, utterly unashamed to feel every emotion on his sleeve, and then the next week, he'd be popping his shit at an opponent with a grin on his face, completely unconcerned what anybody thought about him. And that attitude will soon become his trademark. Even back then, those paying attention could see it coming. He was more than just a defensive back. He was a storm in cleats, and the NFL was about to get the next great villain, and a guy like Ramsey couldn't wait to play that role. Jalen didn't just arrive in the NFL, he made an entrance. When the Jacksonville Jaguars selected him with the 5th overall pick in 2016, he didn't just walk across the stage, he strutted.
The Jacksonville Jaguars select Jalen Ramsey.
Confidence oozed from every step as the future star cornerback locked eyes with the cameras and made his mark before even stepping onto the field. He wasn't just drafted to play football, he was drafted to be the show. From day one, he was the starter, and from day one, he was also the problem. But not the kind of problem teams usually face. No, Ramsey was the kind of problem that would keep receivers awake at night and have quarterbacks looking over their shoulders. It didn't take long for him to make an impression, whether it was calling out players on the field, jawing at the media, or just running his mouth in interviews. Jalen didn't hold back. He was a brash, bold, and unapologetic presence, and he immediately earned his spot as one of the NFL's most electrifying and controversial players.
They had this posted everywhere. They had it posted outside of Wembley. I mean, don't disrespect me at the same time. I'm one of the best corners in the league.
And it quickly didn't take long for the NFL to realize.
No, but you know what team you was going against, Nate.
It's posted everywhere.
You know what I'm saying? You know what team you was going against, gang.
I mean, don't disrespect me at the same time. I'm one of the best corners in the league.
And it quickly didn't take long for the NFL to realize Ramsey didn't just want to be the best cornerback in the league. He wanted to be the villain. He quickly got into verbal wars with some of the league's best. It started with veteran wide receiver Steve Smith Sr.,
I bet you won't do that to Steve Smith ever again, though.
Also known for his brash personality. When they faced off in 2016, Smith was annoyed by Ramsey's cocky attitude and didn't shy away from calling him out after the game.
And he said, "I'm not scared of you." I said, "Okay, cool. I'll see you after the game."
Mr. Wife Fucker.
I'm not scared of you. Okay, so I went to public school, SKOOL. So that means you understand what I'm talking about. So after the end of the game, I had a little chit chat with him. He didn't have anything to say. Get in the locker room, he's talking.
Game over with. You still mad because I was locking you up? All right, go sleep on that.
You think you managed to get in his head, do you think?
What you think? You tell me. Y'all go watch that. Y'all tell me who got in his head.
It was clear Ramsey wasn't scared or backing down from any so-called veterans
like
of
what?
the league.
Like no, hold on, go back, bro. Because what made this nigga talk like this? Like no bullshit.
It was clear Ramsey wasn't scared or backing down from any so-called veterans of the league, and he was ready to stand on all 10. But it didn't stop there. In 2017, he found himself at the center of one of the most iconic fights in recent NFL history. If you was to search up the best NFL fights on here, I'm sure there would be a lot of thumbnails with this fight here. AJ Green, the Cincinnati Bengals star receiver, had taken enough. After being absolutely shut down by Ramsey all game, Green snapped. And in the moment that a goal down in NFL lure, AJ choked Jalen in the middle of the game, slamming him to the ground, and the two exchanged wild punches as the entire stadium watched in disbelief.
And here they are.
Hey, they always get the nigga who retaliate, though.
Ramsey got under his skin. He trashed talked all game long, letting AJ know that he was weak, that he was soft, all while holding him to just one catch and 6 yards. The fight was a moment of pure unfiltered emotions, and that's the kind of stuff Jalen lived for.
Well, basically, Ramsey was telling Green that he was going to shut him down, and then he told him that he did shut him down. Green then flipped out, went crazy,
through the punches. Both players
one
got
catch for
ejected.
6 yards.
I was out there doing what I do, locking the
That's not
receiver up,
lockdown,
talking
no,
that
what
talk.
is?
People think, this is AJ Green. He's never got like this before. AJ Green also, he ain't never played Jalen Ramsey before. That's the quickest way off Ramsey Island, though. I mean, he had one catch for 6 yards. I mean,
And it didn't stop there. He went out to call out other wide receivers by their name, earning a reputation as a guy who really didn't care about making any enemies. In the 2018 offseason, he didn't hesitate to label the Buffalo's Josh Allen trash, which made waves around the league.
Jalen Ramsey is talking mad trash. Ramsey praised several NFL quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, and Blake Bortles, while he said Joe Flacco sucks.
What?
Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, and Blake Bortles, while he said Joe Flacco sucks.
Get the fuck out of here. You gonna praise Blake Bortles over Joe Flacco? Oh, fuck no, bro. Yeah, that nigga, I ain't gonna lie, he might have had CTE at this time. I'm gonna keep it
Matt
above.
Ryan is overrated, and Bills rookie Josh Allen
Ryan
is trash.
Ramsey called
he
Josh
definitely rage baiting, bro. There's no
Allen
way.
trash.
Blake Bortles
He
was
called
ass.
Matt
He had like
Ryan
one good season. That's it.
overrated. He says Big Ben is decent at best, and Joe Flacco sucks.
No, I didn't. That's the first I've heard of it. So he's not on my team. He's not my teammate. It don't bother me.
Crazy thing is, when they played that season, the Bills actually got the dub, 24-21. Josh went 8 of 19 for 160 yards and 1 touchdown, and Jalen had 4 tackles. And then after the game, he was asked about his comment he made earlier in the season.
Don't think he's trash? I mean, the good thing about, the world we live in is everybody can have an opinion. I stick by my opinions usually, but it's about what you go out there and do, and what he went out there and did for their team was get a win. So
yes, still trash.
It's not what I said. You just heard how I just answered his question.
The
next question.
But the thing is, like I said earlier, Jalen never really cared about what he said. He stood on it. This man ripped Matt Ryan, disrespected Joe Flacco, and even targeted Eli Manning, saying the two-time
Eli
Super Bowl
too?
champ was overrated. It was no surprise
Overrated?
that
He beat Tom Brady in both of his Super Bowls. So how the fuck was that overrated? Oh my God.
Ramsey constant chatter and confidence rubbed people the wrong way, but it worked in his favor.
He's
As the
just
old
yapping
saying
at this
goes,
point, I ain't
you're
gonna
not
lie.
relevant unless people are talking about you. Ramsey was everywhere. On the field, he shut down receivers with elite coverage, and off the field, he kept his name in the headlines with his wild quotes and bold predictions. He wasn't scared to make it personal, and when it came to Tyreek Hill, one of the most dangerous players in the NFL, Ramsey straight up called him a return specialist. Low-key sneak dissing though, saying he wasn't a true wide receiver threat.
He made All-Pro as a return specialist. Let's get that right. As a return specialist. He went to 2 Pro Bowls as a return specialist. 2 years, I made All-Pro in my position as a corner.
I'm always up for a challenge. Like I said, he's a great player, and I'm always up for a challenge, He's all right, I guess, I mean, I can't wait to line up against him, and I hope he presses me.
I wish he would have picked a side, like either I'm just all right or I'm the top dog. Pick a side.
And the thing was, it didn't matter to Jalen. If you were on his radar, he was coming for you. And let's just say they both made some plays this season. Back when they played in 2018, Jalen had 4 tackles and Tyreek had 4 catches for 61 yards. But all the noise didn't sit well with everyone. The media pounced on Jalen's persona. Analysts like Skip Bayless and Colin Cowherd labeled him as a distraction and a locker room cancer, the perfect villain for their debate shows. These talking heads didn't care about how many Pro Bowls or All-Pro selections Ramsey had stacked up. They didn't care that he was a legitimate shutdown corner who made plays every Sunday. What they cared about was the drama. He's a diva, they said. He's all talk, no substance, they claimed. All the chatter, all the flair,
I'm
it
gonna
made
keep it a
it
buck,
good for
bro.
TV.
If you're listening to Skip Bayless in the Big 2025, bro, you need help. I'm gonna keep it a buck.
But not
You should
necessarily
not
for
be
a good
listening
locker
to
room
any
chemistry.
take
To
Skip
the
Bayless
public
gotta
eye,
say.
Ramsey's
Like,
personality became bigger than his play. And within the walls of Jacksonville, the problem kept growing. Jalen's relationship with the front office was strained from the start. He didn't hesitate to call out the Jaguars' decisions, questioning the moves that the team made in the draft and free agency, even criticizing their coaching staff for how they handled game planning.
How does this thing start to go sour, and kind of when did that start for you?
It started when it was a front office change in Jacksonville, and some guys were put in positions of power.
It wasn't just that Ramsey had a big mouth. It was that he felt like the team was beneath him. He knew he was a star, but the Jaguars acted like they didn't quite realize it, and that rubbed him
he's
the
not
wrong
wrong,
way.
though.
By 2019, the tension was noticeable. Jalen had become bigger than Jacksonville. The city couldn't contain him anymore. He is someone you can say that got bigger than the program, but the Jaguars' quiet, small market atmosphere couldn't handle the storm he brought with him. The frustration boiled over in week 2 of the 2019 season. After an on-field argument with his head coach over a coaching decision, Ramsey and Doug were separated on the sideline, and Ramsey made it clear he was done.
Coach, to come over there against one of your best players, if not the best player, that's guarding the opposing team's best player, you don't distract him. He's dealing with DeAndre Hopkins all game long, and you want to come and get on him because he wants you to have his back? You don't do that.
He didn't want to be there anymore, and a few days later, Ramsey formally requested a trade. But the drama didn't end here. Jalen's absence from practice was followed by an injury, one that seemed to conveniently keep him out of games. The Jaguars were skeptical, and so was the media.
He was sick. Yeah.
But he's good now? Feeling better?
Doug
From the
Marrone.
sickness?
Yeah. And then when did the injury pop up?
I don't know.
His so-called
What the fuck is
back
you
injury
laughing
became
for?
a subject of controversy, and the whisper started, is he really injured, or was he holding out to push the team into trading him? The Jaguar doctors had cleared him, but Ramsey stayed away from the field, not
Yeah, he
playing
was
for
definitely
weeks
holding
as the
out for
trade
sure.
request loomed. Then finally, in October 2019, the Jaguars granted Jalen's wishes and sent him to the Rams in a blockbuster trade. Just like that, Jalen's time in Jacksonville was over, but the echoes of his time there, filled with controversy, drama, and unmatched talent, would last forever. He wasn't just a cornerback, he was a force. Jalen Ramsey wasn't scared of the noise. He was the noise, and in Jacksonville, the noise became too much to handle. In 2019, Jalen Ramsey made one of the most dramatic moves in his career, leaving behind the drama in Jacksonville for the spotlight in LA. Traded to the Rams in exchange for 2 first-round picks, Ramsey was added to one of the NFL's most high-profile teams, a Super Bowl contender, brimming with talent and ambition. The trade wasn't just a change of scenery, it was a new beginning for Jalen. With the Rams, he was given the keys to an elite defense, and the chance to prove his skills weren't just limited to on-field dominance, but that he could also shine in a city that practically breathes star power. It wasn't long before the Hollywood lights found their way to him. In 2020, just a year after his trade, the Rams made Jalen the highest paid defensive back in NFL history with a 5-year, $100 million contract, solidifying his status as not just a cornerback, but a franchise cornerstone. Paired with Aaron Donald in a loaded defense,
That's one
the
thing about
stage was
Ramsey.
set.
He was
The
always
Rams were
dripped
just
out.
a year removed from a Super Bowl appearance, and with Ramsey locked in, they believed they added the missing piece to get over the hump. The media spotlight burned brighter than ever. Every move, every word from Jalen's mouth now made headlines in a city that craves drama. But as he settled into a franchise that showed him respect and trust, he seemed to find a new gear, and no longer was he seen as the troublesome figure from Jacksonville. In LA, he was quickly becoming a leader of the defense that already had stars. As he started to embrace his new role for the Rams, the narrative around him began to shift. The once problem child now found himself being called a leader and a culture setter within the Rams locker room. Former teammates and coaches praised him for his maturity and work ethic, as he took it upon himself to mentor young players in the secondary. He was, as Coach Sean McVay put it, an anchor in the defense and a guy who sets the tone. Gone were the constant distractions of Jacksonville. Instead, Jalen had grown into someone who understands his responsibilities and could lead by example. He wasn't just a trash-talking cornerback anymore. He was the leader of one of the NFL's most feared defenses. But don't get it twisted. That don't mean Jalen completely turned off the fire that made him who he was. While he embraced leadership, he still had that edge that made him a unique force in the league. Despite being praised for his maturity, Jalen was still jawing at receivers, still letting his...
I ain't gonna lie, nigga. I still remember what he did to Golden Tate's sister. Oh my gosh. That's gotta be one of the most fucked up things. Nigga got her pregnant and then left her. Like, that is crazy.
I know exactly how he felt. Whether it
That
was a
has gotta be the
sideline
most
confrontation or
diabolical
popping
shit
and
you
shit
could
making
ever do,
comments after a win. Jalen still
Then he
carried
put
that
Golden
villain
Tate
role
on
that
his
had
ass
defined him
the
since
next
his
time they
FSU
played.
days.
Like-
In one game against the 49ers,
Bruh.
while mic'd up, Jalen was trash-talking Deebo Samuel after a crucial stop, saying, I told you, you ain't getting nothing on me today. Even when they was winning, Jalen's mouth was always a part of the show. Even against Dallas, he was mic'd up again, where he got his first career sack.
I hope
and
he
you
get
could hear
mic'd
him
up this
laughing. I
year,
told
bro.
y'all I'm coming, as he was getting off the quarterback.
I got it.
I got it, big bro.
Despite the shift in perception, one thing remained. Jalen fully embraced the villain role, and honestly, it suited him. If anything, it only made him more of a character in this NFL drama. Before games, he would arrive at SoFi Stadium in his trademark all-black pregame fits. It wasn't just a look, it was a statement. I'm here, I'm ready, and I'm bringing the smoke. Jalen seemed to say this without even saying a word. As he walked through the stadium tunnel, it gave off the same raw confidence, letting his performance do all the talking. Before the game even started, and when he stepped onto the field, he owned it, whether it was an intimidating stare or flexing after making a big play. And off the field, he became a must-follow on social media, where his clapbacks achieved legendary status. Even on social media, Jalen didn't hold back. He would clap back at fans, analysts, and anyone daring to question his abilities. If you doubted him, he'd let you know. In one tweet, he let an unnamed NFL exec know exactly who he was. Stack up my 6 years in the league to any corner in history. 3-time first-team All-Pro and 5-time Pro Bowler. Who else did that? While most other corners were still trying to earn a seat at the table, Jalen was already comfortable. He was no longer just a cornerback, he was a brand. And then, of course, came the biggest moment of them all, the Rams Super Bowl run in 2022. After all the drama, the trash talk, the big plays, and the off-field antics, it all came together in the ultimate reward. Jalen, battling through injuries in a tough postseason run, played a crucial role in getting his team to the final game of the year. When the Rams faced off against the Bengals in Super Bowl 56, Jalen was locked in, shadowing one of the most dangerous wide receivers in the league, Jamar Chase. And believe, it wasn't an easy task. Chase was putting up insane numbers all season long, but Ramsey, in true villain fashion, didn't back down. He was there for every snap, physically and mentally engaged, showing that the Rams defense with him as a star was a force that couldn't be denied. While Chase did manage a few catches, Jalen was right there all game. When the final whistle blew, it was Jalen who could finally raise the Lombardi Trophy, a champion, a leader, and yes, still very much the villain. The perception had changed, but Jalen's confidence, his drive, and his undeniable edge remained. His career came full circle, from a polarizing player in Jacksonville to a Super Bowl champion in the face of the Rams defense. And as he stood in front of the cameras, trophy in hand, his message was loud and clear. Winning changes perceptions, but Ramsey didn't tone it down. He simply turned the volume up with a Lombardi in hand.
He deserved it for sure, though. Like, cause he was definitely not getting that in Jacksonville. Let's keep it a
Jalen
buck.
landed in Miami with all the fanfare of a villain making his grand entrance. The Dolphins were already an electric team, boasting stars like Tyreek Hill and Xavier Howard. But when Ramsey stepped into the locker room, everything changed.
Where the fuck is he at now? I ain't gonna lie, I'm low-key surprised he didn't get picked up last year. Now, I know, you know what I'm saying, he's not in his prime no more, but I feel like he can still go, you know what I'm saying? He's still a pretty solid corner. Bro, his fall off gotta be studied. I ain't gonna lie.
It wasn't just the aura he brought, it was the attitude, the edge, the reminder that he was never the kind of guy to just fit in. He was the guy you loved to hate. But his journey didn't start as smoothly as he hoped in Miami. Just before the start of the season, Jalen knee gave out in training camp. A torn meniscus sidelined him for what seemed like an eternity until he stared down the clock and promised he would return far ahead of schedule. The injury meant he would miss the early weeks of the season, but that didn't stop him. Jalen crushed his rehab in just 3 months, setting his sights on a return for week 8. And when he made his comeback, it was like he never left. When he returned to Hard Rock Stadium, the crowd went wild as he domed his new Miami jersey, ready to lock down whoever dared to come his way. In his first game back against Mac Jones and the Patriots, Ramsey wasted no time showing that he was still the same guy, still the best corner in the league. He picked off a pass, returned it for 48 yards, and he smacked Ezekiel Elliott so hard he forced a fumble. With one huge play after another, Jalen showed the NFL that nothing had changed. Not his talent, not his trash talk, not his fiery competitive edge. The Dolphins crushed to a 31-17 win, and Jalen's legend was reborn. But it didn't stop there. A few weeks later, the Dolphins faced their biggest test, a trip to Frankfurt to face Patrick Mahomes and the defending Super Bowl champions. The media was hyped. Would Miami's defense hold up? Against Mahomes, Jalen and the Dolphins defense put on a masterclass. Mahomes threw for just 185 yards, his lowest total of the season, while Ramsey held tight against the Chiefs offense that had been lighting up the scoreboard all season. He shut down Travis Kelce, holding him to a shocking 3 catches for 14 yards.
Damn.
The Chiefs were shut down, the Dolphins defense was rolling, and Ramsey's presence was undeniable. Miami didn't walk away with the win that day, but Ramsey proved that the legend hadn't gone anywhere. The fire that had burned so brightly through Jacksonville and LA was now fully ignited in Miami, and with every test he faced, Ramsey turned the doubters into fuel because now the critics were calling him washed, and an aging cornerback, but he never let the noise drown him out. Instead, he only sharpened his focus.
When you put the work in, you don't really worry about none of that. You know, you don't really worry about what other people say. You know what you have done to prepare, and you just stand on that.
In Week 11, the Dolphins squared off against the Raiders, and Ramsey was ready to remind everyone why they'd never be able to count him out. Lining up across from one of the best wide receivers in the game, Devontae Adams, Jalen was dialed in, locking him down when it mattered most. Adams did grab a touchdown, but Jalen made up for it with 2 key interceptions and sealed the win. The second one came with just minutes left in the end zone,
he knocked the wind out of himself off that,
and gave Miami a 20-13 victory. Jalen was everywhere, shutting down big-time players while continuing to get into his opponent's heads. He's the best corner in the league, Tyreek Hill said, admiring how Jalen stepped up not just physically but emotionally for his team. But as always, the media wasn't done with Jalen.
Tyreek just be yapping for real. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck. Nigga said the Tua was better than Mahomes. After he said that take, bro, I stopped listening to everything Tyreek had to say.
They kept labeling him as past his prime, washed even. In one particular comment, a AFC East reporter declared the only downside is that Ramsey might be past his prime, a headline that ran through every outlet. And you already know Jalen wasn't going without responding. He fed off the comment. Really every comment. Every doubter was a reminder, not just for the media, but for himself, that legends don't fade away. They don't get buried with the aging cornerback label. They evolve, and that's exactly what Ramsey did. He didn't get quieter, he got louder. He didn't slow down, he turned up the heat. With every interception, every jaw-dropping play, he reminded the world that he wasn't done. Now in 2025, Jalen's career came full circle. After years of dominating, trash talking, and playing villain in multiple cities, he's adding another to the list. The Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the NFL's most storied franchises, welcomed the 3-time All-Pro cornerback with open arms. The team wasn't just adding a defensive back, they're adding a complete attitude shift to a squad that already prided itself on hard-hitting, no-nonsense football. Ramsey don't just fit into Pittsburgh's rugged identity, he embodies it, as he joined a roster already known for its grit, toughness, and unrelentless defense. It was clear he was the perfect match for Pittsburgh's no-apology mentality. The Steelers had already been a team built on physicality and attitude. Names like Troy Polamalu, James Harrison, and Joey Porter are etched in their defense lore. Now Jalen is stepping into that legacy, adding his own brand of villain to it. And if you know, you know, because that villain is just a straight crash out. You want to know something about legacy? It's a strange thing. Some players have it handed to them before they ever take a snap. Others have to snatch it, steal it, bleed for it. And then there's Jalen Ramsey, one of the most dominant defensive backs of his generation, who did all that and still gets left out of the conversation. From day one, he was a walking headline. He didn't sneak into the league, he crashed a party. First team All-Pro by year 2, a shutdown corner in an era of pass-heavy offenses. And not the soft-spoken, keep your head down type. Nah, Jalen talked, and he backed it all up. But when the debates roll around about the greatest corner ever, Ramsey's name is barely a whisper. And let me clarify, to the media I should say. Why? Well, because in the eyes of the league and the media, he wasn't built the right way. But here's the part they don't tell you. Jalen Ramsey never asked for their validation. He never begged to be on their all-time list. He knew who he was. So no, this isn't a redemption arc. It's not about proving the critics wrong. This is about a man who refused to change just to make people comfortable, who wore the villain role like a custom-fit suit, who locked down Hall of Famers and told them about it afterwards, who won a Super Bowl, clapped back on Twitter, and kept receipts. They may never give Jalen Ramsey the legacy he deserves, but legacy isn't what they give you, it's what you take.
That's facts. Wow, man, this is a good ass video, I ain't gonna lie. Hey man, shit, I wanna know what you guys think down in the comments below. Y'all let me know what other NFL videos I'm to react to. Without further ado, I'm out.
I'm chosen, I'ma make them feel me, make them people when they show me. And if you don't know me, I'ma make sure that you know me. I hate to say it, but I really think I'm broken. But I know I'm chosen, I really know I'm chosen. I know I'm chosen. I was just lost a year ago, but now I'm focused. When good at sports, this microphone can be my trophy. Not taking drugs, I found a better way of coping.